Good good morning, everyone. Hungry Black Man here.
Good morning, Jill Tracey here. How are you?
All right. So we have a very interesting show for you guys today. And
Lord, that's an understatement.
there was so much that happened over the weekend that is ridiculous. And unfortunately, both me and Jill in our respective homes did not get a lot of sleep last night. I am so tired. But so good morning, everyone. We're gonna let everyone kind of hop in because we want to make sure that you guys all see this video. So we're gonna start out the conversation with Kanye.
Trevor, how was your weekend?
We're gonna start the conversation with Kanye West Meltdown. We have two areas where we're gonna show you. His first was when he had a complete meltdown, crying about his dad not being there for him on stage. And I love the fact that he fits into Fox News' narrative. And so they titled the article, Kanye West Gets Emotional When Discussing Pro-Life Statements. So here we go with the first one. This was the first sign that I knew something was wrong. Well, besides the security vest.
Say that was the first, and the 2020 in his head.
I said, we're going to have this child. I know people that are 50 years old that didn't have the children, that didn't have that child, that have never got to experience the level of joy that I experienced in having a child.
Stop it.
Into the world, even when I didn't want to. She stood up and she protected that child. You know who else protected the child? Who do you think might have protected the child? 43 years ago.
Thank you.
My mom saved my life. My dad wanted to abort me. My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
So Fox News is amazing. They stopped the video before he broke down. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Do you think they did that to save him the shame,
or he's speaking their narrative? Like he's speaking their narrative. He's anti-abortion.
Right.
So I'm going to show you guys the actual
breakdown until like about 30 minutes in.
Yeah, let me show you guys the actual breakdown. Fox News, good for them, promoting their own narrative. That's great. I don't even know why I would have thought that they would show him do that, because they don't want to make anyone that supports their narratives.
Ladybug, we're gonna have that conversation, because that's what I say.
All right, here you guys go. Sorry about that. Let's make that big. Scroll up here.
Julia, lovely. Fatima, Emmy, hey. Good morning.
Here we go.
My dad wanted to abort me. My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
He starts like cry talking. So
we need to get
definitely
the internet. Yes, Fatima. It has. Oh, damn. Did he freeze up altogether?
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, that's the first part. Now, here for the second part is where we really have a problem, where he went on to claim that Harriet Tubman did not actually free slaves, that they went to go work for other white people. And we're going to get into why this is so dangerous, actually, because this is what we're not, we're not having that conversation. All right, here you guys go.
And the most racist thing that's ever been said out loud is the idea that if Kanye West was the president, I'm gonna split the black folks. Well, Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for other white people.
Where did you get that shit from?
She was pregnant and for 1 month and 2 months and 3 months. We talked about her not having this child. She had the pills in her hand. People don't.
So I love the fact that it's interesting. Like, so the liberal media is different from the conservative media. The conservative media leaves out his breakdown. The liberal media takes his irrational statement and then links it immediately to the section where he has his breakdown. So let's unpack this here.
All in the edit.
What'd you say?
I said it's all in the edit.
So Kanye West is a part of the Terrence Williams, the Candace Owens, the Tariq Nasheeds. And Tariq Nasheed actually said, because, the thing is this, like, Black extremists and Black conservatives, sometimes there's this like meeting ground where they agree. It's really interesting. So if you were someone who is in like a hotep or leaning toward almost like, like a hotep, you're going to have some areas where you agree with Black conservatives.
Right.
And it's interesting because Kanye West, he attempts, first of all, he was on the wrong side of history. He was uninformed. And I think that it's so sad that Harriet Tubman from 1850 to 1860, she did over 19 trips, freed over 700 slaves. And for people who don't realize, I always call Harriet Tubman our warrior queen because she was one of the first women in the nation's history to have led an armed assault during the Civil War and actually won that battle. So she was there's so much, and I encourage everyone to read the book. I think her name is Miss Sawyer. I'll post the book tomorrow. I read it a long time ago, and I can tell you that he's absolutely incorrect. Many of the slaves went on to be entrepreneurs. Many of the slaves went on to establish businesses in the area that their slavery was in. So if you were a butcher, if you were a cook, if you were, they went on to start their new lives as entrepreneurs. And so he is inherently incorrect. Harriet Tubman, the biggest problem with these conservatives and the way that they think, for some reason, they think tarnishing the legacy of our ancestors, and specifically our ancestors who were noteworthy in history. For whatever reason, they have this hard on to like discredit, diminish, and minimize Black lore, right? So they want to turn it into something that is, I really don't know what their goal is per se, but it's an assault, right? It's a coordinated assault. I wanted to show you guys, and that brings me to the next thing, which is
Good morning, Mackenzie.
This bullshit. Now, Jill, over the weekend, I went bananas.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. So,
and he wasn't the only one.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It was another.
All niggas look alike. They all just.
It was 2 senators that did this. And the thing about Marco is that I can guarantee you that Marco Rubio did this on purpose. I can guarantee he did this on purpose. There's no that level of incompetence is just glaring. It's no way for a Go ahead.
I'm thinking that maybe, some intern or somebody posted. They don't always post for themselves. And I mean, why would he deliberately? That's
for attention. I'm telling you, this is how I know how these people's minds work, because I literally had friends like this growing up, and they think this is hilarious. They laugh at this stuff. He is literally laughing with his other Republican senators about this. Like, this is funny. This is funny to them. That's why no one was fired. So if you really were serious and this was an earnest mistake, guess what? He would have gotten up and been like, you know what? We have terminated the intern or the staffer.
Well, I don't know if termination is. No. I don't know if that's a fireable offense. I mean, if you didn't know who John Lewis was, and was watching the news on Sunday morning, and you're the person that posted for him, you might have just been so excited. Oh my God, I remember seeing a picture of him and put it together. I wouldn't fire somebody for that. They would have to go on social media and explain why the hell they did that shit. But
so the reason why that person would be fired, and the reason why I think he did it on purpose, and the reason why it's important for us to take this very serious, is that, number one, we saw what happened to Nick Cannon when he literally his words caused who to be hurt exactly, right? His words caused a certain group of people to be hurt. And people from the outside were kind of like, well, what exactly was hurtful about it? So they had to explain to people why it was hurtful. And then folks still didn't really get it, but he was fired nonetheless. He was fired immediately. And so what I'm saying is that when you do things to Black people, for some reason, we have such a large level of fucking grace. And we consistently allow people to do things that are very disrespectful, that are very problematic. And until we embrace the energy that our Jewish brothers and sisters have about literally either A, keep my name totally out of your mouth, and if you mention anything about what I said or did, we are going to have a problem. I remember when 21 Savage in his song, he said, "We getting that." This was the lyric: "We getting that Jewish money. Mm-hmm. Everything is kosher." That was it. We getting that Jewish money. Everything is kosher. Not only was he forced to apologize, within 2 months he was deported. Right. How did that happen? How did this man? In 2 months he was deported, and so now you have a senator that has worked. He's not Jill Tracey. He's not Starks. He's not someone that is.
I've interviewed John. Check my Instagram.
Right now,
my John Lewis moment. But that's the same thing. Like, if I had put up a picture and that, it had been, Elijah Cummings and not John Lewis, I mean, I would have felt the wrath of
you would have been.
But then I'm Black. I'm supposed to know better.
But this is the thing, right? So this is why I'm giving you the reasons why that person. I'm giving you the reasons why, because number one, John Lewis is someone that literally physically suffered for the rights of our people, number one. So he is someone that is a hero in our community. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying to Marco Rubio is this, and this is the reason why I know that he did it on purpose. Number one, when you look at the fact that this senator, he's not me, he's not Jill Tracey, he has had multiple interactions with these folks. This is these were high-ranking members of Congress, both Elijah Cummings and John Lewis. They've been in Congress for decades. And so the fact is that if you can be so cavalier, so carefree to let a piss poor intern, if that was what it was, because no one's saying who made the fucking mistake, number one. So that's a big problem for me, because that lets me know that you're not even attempting to shame, or not even to shame, but to give Black people some level of respect and say, this is what happened. This is what we're doing to correct it. Because when Elijah Cummings died, it was a big fiasco with them doing the same shit. They did the same shit when Elijah Cummings died.
Oh, really?
They were.
Did they put John Lewis's picture up when Elijah died?
They put John Lewis pictures up, and I remember talking to Felicia.
That needed context and a backstory. I didn't know all that.
Yeah, when Elijah Cummings died, they did the same thing.
Okay, well then that's a totally different story.
So now I'm sitting there like, wait a second. So I'm looking at all these. I put I put Marco Rubio's an asshole, which he is, because not only is
yes, he is.
This is my thing, right? So I put that up there, Jill. Would you imagine that all of these fucking like samples start coming under my page defending him? And I'm just like, my God. Like, so then I then said, listen, this is not a situation about mixing up the way that two people look. This is a situation about not giving a fuck, not giving any credence to the fact that this man lost his battle to cancer and that he was a giant in the civil rights movement. Right?
Okay, but in your post, did you put that he did that Rubio did the same exact thing when Elijah Muhammad died? And
no, Rubio didn't. No, Rubio didn't do it. Other senators did it. Other political folks did it.
You said, like, if Rubio had done it, then I'd have been like, okay, yep, yeah, he's trying it.
No, so it was a big deal before. It was a big deal before. And so my thing is that if you know that that was a big deal before and folks were upset and folks were hurt by that,
you'd have to care. Now, you'd have to care about that.
Right? So what I'm saying, Jill, and what I'm saying is that when I put that up, I realized the reason why we can't tap into that Jewish energy is because we have too many Sambos in our race. You have too many people that will literally, like, nobody, not one Jewish person is coming out saying, you know what, Nick Cannon is a friend of mine and he has Jewish friends. Nick Cannon is a friend of mine, and I know he would never mean anything to hurt the Jewish people. No one's gonna, not one of them are gonna come out and say that shit, even if they believed it.
But did you? Okay, but to that, did you see?
I can't hear you. What did you say?
I said, okay, but to that, I mean, with that logic, right?
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of people come out and say, Nick Cannon's an idiot and he shouldn't have, black people. Nick Cannon's an idiot and he should be admonished to the hills. You see what I'm saying? It just.
You said not a lot of black people. Why? But we're not the ones on the receiving end. But
you're saying it, but do we admire that? Are you saying that you admire that trait in Jewish people?
Yes, Steve Harvey came out and
emulate that. Right.
Steve Harvey condemned Nick Cannon very badly.
Who? Steve Harvey?
Yes.
Oh, he don't count. He hasn't been black for a while.
No, but that's the thing.
He gave him a.
But that's my point, right? He is still black.
Wait, what was that about Aretha? Go back.
News outlet.
Who did they mix Aretha up with?
Some other black lady.
Okay, yeah, that's.
But my point, Jill, is that.
Okay, so let's just say people fuck up all the time, and I would hate to say some I don't know, some random white legislator, and I mix up their picture with somebody else. I would hate for that to be the end of my career, that I lost my job because I mixed up a picture. Do you see what I'm saying? So when somebody said you're giving them too much grace, I am putting myself in that position that if I fucked up and put, I just can't think of anybody right now, but if one white legislator died and I put another picture up of somebody who looked a lot like them, I wouldn't want to be admonished to the hills and you can never work again.
So I don't think that you're nailing them to the cross, but that is, for me, if it creates a firestorm for me as a senator, right, you're going to lose your job because of the magnitude of the incompetence. And so just because it was a singularity, no, this was an egregious, incompetent mistake that now puts into question all of the other important things that you need to do in the future for this office that is a national office. So when you make those types of mistakes, they are critical fucking failures. You have to literally, you cannot work here, because what it says is that level of incompetence, even though it's a singularity, it caused a magnitude, right? So even when I was a director, that's what I had to explain to employees when I had to terminate them. And it was a horrible explanation. It was like, when you do certain things, so it was an employee, she was a great employee, but guess what, Jill? She left one of the kids on the bus. So because she did that, Because
well, she endangered a child's life.
Right? She endangered a child's life, right? But guess what? She didn't understand that. The same way I had to fire an employee who mistakenly left the back door of the park open, right? Mistakenly, he cleaned the building, great employee, left the back door of the park open. Well, guess what? Some teenagers opened the door. They came in and fucked up shit. And so guess what? He was terminated because of the egregiousness of the mistake. And so this individual did something that caused an egregious reaction. Because now this person has a level of sacredness to his people, the magnitude of the person who lost their life. For you to make that mistake is problematic. This wasn't someone that hadn't accomplished a lot that you understood, about Bimbo or whoever, and you say, you know what?
But then it would have been the same thing. I mean, anybody. Yes. He does. There's reverence to what John Lewis gave his life for a cause, and not many of us will ever be able to say that. Yes, but every life is valuable. So, I'm nobody would have noticed if it was somebody nobody knew. Nobody would notice.
That's what, and it would be egregious. It would be an apology, and you would move on.
Right? He should apologize. Jesus, yes, he should apologize. I'm not saying that, but
he hasn't even come out to say shit. That's my point. My point is that,
I'm not defending that at all, but I'm saying if we were taught, we had gone on to create our own scenario that an intern did it, and sure. It was Patty. Yeah, see, hi Natasha, hi baby girl. Exactly. Many Black people thought that John Lewis had died when the correct picture was in the news, right, and not left the baby on the bus, right? Black Lives Matter. Exactly, Natasha. Baby on the bus is a whole different scenario than.
Well, I'm talking about the fact that the child.
And I don't, I'm not doubting that he may have done it deliberately. I'm not doubting that at all. But those staffers would have to be fired because they put those senators in a bad light, especially since Elijah and John were high-ranking members of Congress for decades. It's too egregious.
It really is. You can't. And so the thing is that when you look again,
okay, I'm just saying same. So if you did the same thing, you would expect to be fired.
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't even
no matter what role you played and how vital you were to the campaign, you would expect to be.
I would not have. I would not have showed up to work. Because I would have written. And so my thing again, so many of us were under there. This is what I'm trying to create, right? I'm trying to create the same atmosphere that Jews have. When Jewish people were attacked, they band together, they nominate their spokesman, whoever that is, and we're gonna be behind that. We're not.
But so we don't.
Well, what I'm saying is that we don't have that. Because there's not enough of us that feel the way that I feel or feel the way that other folks feel about when you do attack us and be very upset about it and say, hey, look, this enough. Like you need the more of us that do that, right? The more of us that become just as loud as the ones defending Rubio. Because
I agree.
The thing that kills me, Jill, under my post, you got these people, diehard defending this guy. But then when fucking Gillum messed up, that same motherfucker want to share a post about his pain, about his trauma. But now, and so that narrative of self-hate. And so you're defending someone that literally had an opportunity. Your staffers make over $100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much
person posted on.
Yeah, the Senate staffers. Oh my God, they make crazy money. Those Senate staffers, they make at least 75. The policy review person makes 100 something. They all make.
The person that is responsible for posting on your Instagram, if they are making $100,000, if they're on that level, then okay, at that level, you can't make mistakes like that. But if you are somebody that's making, $25,000 a year just to make sure he posts on time.
No, these people have staffers that do that, right? And then, or they'll have a social media company that runs their social media.
I agree with you both, you and Roy, that yes, if those, you are talking management level people. Yeah, you don't get a pass.
See what I'm saying?
You get a pass. For me, an intern would get a pass. A full-fledged, upper management type employee, no, you get no pass.
Yeah. And so my thing is, like I said, I really just want our people to be defensive when folks do this to us.
Because you black, Roy. You know, if my black ass can be, I can hear your voice in my head, Roy. My boss is social media. I be fired roasting a toast on the spot. You are not lying. You most certainly would. And then we would have to come to your defense. We would have to march. We would have to boycott the business. Do all of that to make sure you got your job back.
And speaking of Sambos, this goddamn lady.
Right. Nikki said it is an easy Google search. But you're right. I'm not defending him at all. I just, I believe in giving as much grace as possible. But if it becomes just like, come on now, ain't no way you could tell me you didn't know, then that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing because they had the problem before.
And we could get him on and ask him, did you know? Please explain how this happened. Okay, I'm sorry. Next story.
Yeah, so this goddamn lady, I don't know if you saw the video. Hopefully it's in here. Yeah, here we go. She
faced the Black Lives Matter.
Brings her ass out there. More Sambo energy. Let me go to the story for you guys.
Gatekeep blackness. I'm with that, Trevor.
Some talk. Put that down, bro. Don't throw that at a woman. Come on, bro. Don't throw that at a woman, bro. Come on, bro.
So she goes out there and she defaces the Black Lives Matter, fucking shit. Hold on.
I hope you put, using Jesus to push her sunken place agenda. Anissa, you so good.
That's landscape. So all you got to do is press start. You know how to go start?
That's good.
It's live? Okay. We live?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we in Brooklyn, and it ain't over.
Oh.
Jesus matters. We're taking our country back.
From who? You piece of shit.
And let me tell you something. The police need our help. They can't stand alone. Don't just sit by idly and watch your country go to the ground. Stand with your police force. Vote for Trump. Vote Republican. Vote for Christians and stand up Christians.
Godly, demonic, antichrist people out of this nation, please.
In Jesus' name. Hey guys, I just want to encourage you guys to pray. Just pray for us right now. Pray for the officers. Pray for what we're doing right now. I just
don't understand this mentality right here.
We're doing it for Jesus.
Black lives. We're doing it for all the Black lives that.
Okay, think about that.
Including Black lives.
Listen to this.
Every single life out there, including Black lives. We're doing it for all the Black lives that Black Lives Matter doesn't stand up for. Even Don Lemon said it himself to Terry Crews that Black Lives Matter is not about what happens to Black lives in the hood. It's not about what happens to any other Black lives except the ones that they earn them money clearly.
What?
So we're doing it for right now, y'all. We hitting everywhere. So pray for us, guys. Please pray for us. In Jesus' name.
Don't keep Jesus out of this. Oh my God. And black people, oh my God, this is just sacrilegious. Oh my God. It is, Trevor. Always some psycho, pseudo-religious people.
I love when Jamaica starts snapping on people.
This for all black lives, man. This for all black lives. This for all black lives, bro.
Yeah, they're mentally handicapped. He's stupid fucking bitch.
Can you text me this?
I know that's right. I'm gonna take you out.
Okay, so what's the right way? You tell me.
Good boy.
Was that Black Lives Matter situation? It's a token. Hey, this is like, I understand that. I understand that. I understand that argument. I agree.
So that woman is a pastor by the name of Beverly. By the name of Beverly Beatty, and that's what she decided to go do. And so when I warn people, man, I'm telling you, man, I know I'm just a guy from Miami, Jill, but I'm telling you, these symbols are out of control. They are literally, there is an element to unseat Black respect, because when they see Black people demanding respect, and you see Black people with that energy, that same energy, like I said, that Jewish people have, they can't have another group of people that are just as unified as Jewish people. They can't have that. And so when I say they, whoever that is, you can't, if you have a group, if you have Black people that walk in the energy of, even if I don't agree with Jill, you did some fuck shit to Jill, or you did some fuck shit to my people, I am going to stand in solidarity with my people and be silent if I don't agree. If I don't agree, at the end of the day, and that's my thing. So when you look at the Rubio situation, the moment that he made that fucking error, right? Every Black person should have condemned him. The condemnation of people who attack our people, whether they look like us or not, that shit has to be amped up, because that's the only thing that people in this world, that's the only energy they understand. The only energy they understand is shame and condemnation, like, because they're not going to stop otherwise. And so this woman took her ass out there to face the Black. And guess what? I don't agree with the Black Lives Matter organization either. Most of us don't, but we understand, instead of them listening to Don Lemon for the right reasons, right? They used it and distorted what Don Lemon said in his interview with Terry Crews. He simply was breaking down to them that, hey, listen, Black Lives Matter, the mantra itself has a direct foundation in police brutality. It is not a movement for all Black lives around the world to prevent violence in inner cities, to prevent violence. That's not the goal of this particular initiative. And it just has a name that sounds all encompassing, but overwhelmingly it's about, that's what Don Lemon explained to them. Like, it's not, because Terry Crews in the interview, Terry Crews was like, Black Lives Matter doesn't care about the Black kids that's dying in Chicago, that's dying in the hood. Yes. And so Don Lemon was explaining to them, to Terry Crews, okay, that is important. And he's like, Terry, if you want to create an organization to deal with the crimes that happen in the inner city that are affecting Black lives, then you should do that, because the Black Lives Matter movement is specifically addressing police brutality. And that was his explanation to him. And so this woman goes out there and they contort and distort what Don Lemon said. And then they go out there and they say, well, this, you have this thing on the street and Black lives don't matter, that this is an agenda by the Black Lives Matter organization to hijack Black liberation. That was That was Beatty's fucking like mantra. And then tying Jesus into it, saying that Jesus loves everybody. And it was so offensive to hear the guy go, oh, well, we care about everyone, including Black lives. The moment that you say shit like that, you're not for Black people. The moment you say shit like that. So this woman was definitely a Sambo in the sunken place. So she goes, I wanted her to be paid low key, but all her social media platforms show this delusion dating up to 4 to 6 weeks back. She's a Sambo to the bone.
Okay, yes, I agree with Roy completely. And to your point, exactly. That's what StarX is saying, that there is no dissension. And if you don't agree, you just shut up. And that's the problem. For me, that's the problem that we have, is that we can't come to some consensus.
But we can.
Black lives. I mean, when I think of Black Lives Matter, it's just like, it's like, damn, I have to tell you this. I have to tell you that our lives matter. Like, this is such a simple but so all-encompassing thought. Like, you don't understand that Black lives matter, that my life matters. You don't even see why I'm valid to be alive and breathing.
Yeah.
So I take Black Lives Matter that literally. Like I'm taking you back to kindergarten, right? Because maybe you didn't learn this, but Black Lives Matter as well. Now, when you have her crazy ass come out and see, she should have stayed home and called her pastor and had a conversation. And why these demons are visiting her, and she feels like she wants to get some black paint and go paint over Black Lives Matter. What is that's offending you about that you feel is sacrilegious? You a Black woman going over to paint over something that says your life matters? That's crazy. That's some insane asylum shit right there. And I do agree. I agree that, yes, I would love nothing more if we had that strength of power in our community, that when somebody comes out against us or says something egregious or something is done, that we would all pause our lives for a day and all over the world march for Breonna Taylor because her life mattered. Nothing would make me happier. How do we get there? You know what I'm saying? I had Tariq on Hot Talk once, and I was like, I see this is why we can't get anywhere.
But we're not. My thing is this, right? This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. You got to condemn the Sambos. Okay, someone said our people are so divided. We're really not. We're not. And that's the narrative.
Condemn them. Why do you have to condemn people who look just like you in public?
You have to at this point, because it's not.
When do you see Jewish people do that in public? If we're going to emulate how they behave, when do you ever see them come out against each other in public the way that we do?
So I'm not advocating to emulate how they behave. I'm asking for us to walk in their power. And if a Jewish person got out of line, they got out of line and start speaking against, then the Jewish people will then swarm that person publicly and let them know this person.
If we can find one example, I'd agree with you. They would swarm their ass, but it would not be in public.
It would have to be if the person went public. It would have to be, because that's the only way that you're going to combat it. No one did a response, and that's the thing.
They're going to come out. They're going to come out and condemn it, but they won't be on a panel like this going at each other on CNN.
No, it depends. It depends on what. It won't be they, because they nominate spokesmen. So Greenblatt will go after that person.
Rabbi Shmuley will come out and he'll break that down, and how he will have had a conversation with said person, and they are working on, whatever was missing in said person, and you would not hear from said person for quite some time.
We will never be anonymous in that sense, because that's not the nature of our people. We didn't even gain our freedom from being quiet. We are masters at PR. The whole civil rights movement.
PR, we would not be in this situation if we was masters.
No, that's what happened. Is that, think about it, Jill. Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, they were all PR executives, because you had to be able to convince the public to be able to pressure the federal government and the world powers to pressure the federal government to say slavery is wrong.
Right. But the only reason why they were able to do that is because they had Black people behind them. If they had just showed up at the White House or wherever alone spewing that, they'd have thrown them in jail.
Just like they behaved the way they did against their own people, other ethnicities and cultures have the same problem. They will always be a group of people like that. We're giving them the attention they have asked for based on the behaviors they've displayed. No, we can't redirect our attention, because what I'm saying to you, Ray, and everyone else, is that that's what we did that was wrong. We ignored them. You can't ignore them because they got bigger. If you create the atmosphere where now Kanye West is condemned, now this woman's condemned, and now we have a media arm that's churning out those articles, that's digging up all this information, and then they will stop. If you come after them, these people are cowards.
But
and
you gotta come with the full force. It can't just be one person out there. Yeah. I mean,
and that's why we're working hard to build the notoriety of our platform, our shows. And okay, somebody
just said that, that we are building a space where you can have a difference of opinion and not be disagreeable. Exactly. That you can learn from each other, and you can be okay that you don't have to agree on every damn thing to be able to move us forward. Yes.
And that's my thing.
It went bad too quick.
That's my thing, Joe. Like, okay, let someone put this big thing about the Black Lives Matter donations are being funneled to finance pedo Joe Biden's Democratic campaign. He is running and focusing his campaign on the LGBT community. Hence his response to Charlemagne the God, "You're not Black if you don't vote for me." That was a double
entendre
due to the link between the acronym community through Black Lives Matter LLC. They were LLC? I thought they were nonprofit. And the fact that the Black community is known for blindly voting Democrat and not getting anything in exchange for their votes, it's all a big joke to them. The fact that they name.
Okay, yeah, no. So Tashara, let's just stop there for a second. So Tashara, are you voting for Trump?
I hope not.
I mean, no, I want to know, because when she's saying she says that she's condemning Biden, that his motives are impure, and that the LG, like all of that. So are you voting for Trump?
Jill, I think I need glasses.
Or will you just not vote? It happens, and I'm learning it's the screens.
Because I could not make out some of these words. I had to literally squint to.
I have to go get my glasses redone, because it's something about the lighting. Oh, we have to bring him on one day. These two brothers, love them. Optical City in Sunrise. They're doing an amazing thing. I met them because I brought them on Hot Talk, because they donate glasses to children. They, have this coalition of teachers, and they reached out to the teachers to say, if you see children in your class with trouble reading, let us know, and we'll provide glasses for them. Because a lot of times parents don't see it. It is. It's really good. So anyway, we'll okay. So hell no. Okay. Okay, Tashara, are you voting at all? Shay said, right. I cannot wait till we can all get together, because they are so much of the show. Because Shay was like, okay, are you voting at all, miss?
I'm gonna, while we're on this topic, guys, I'm gonna show you guys our third story that's really unfortunate, and it goes into how we need to continue to defend.
Right.
Here we go.
Jesus Christ. Huh.
A South Sound, of these times calling for racial justice, a South Sound teen said he was pulled aside by a supervisor at work after a customer complained that his Black Panther movie t-shirt was racist. He said he was told to go buy a new shirt or go home and change. Karen 7's Michael Spears is live in Pierce County right now.
It's a movie.
Just a few hours ago. Michael?
Team works at the Lowe's in Bonnie Lake and tells us he is beyond frustrated about what happened. He said he never interacted with the customer who complained, but said the next day a woman showed up to his job demanding to know what the company would do to punish him for wearing that shirt from the widely seen movie. A cultural phenomenon, grossing over $1.3 billion worldwide. Wakanda forever! Its signature phrase even put on shirts. Like this one, 18-year-old Kyle Sales said he wore to work last weekend at the Bonnie Lake Lowe's.
The overhead picture
said a supervisor wanted to speak with him.
She goes, "The customer said your shirt is offensive and racist." And I was like, "How is this? This is from a movie. Like, how is this racist?" I tried to explain myself.
He told us he was given two options.
So either go buy a new shirt or go home and change.
Kyle said he went home at lunch and threw a sports jersey over it.
I was frustrated and I was really like put back. I was like, wow, this isn't racist. I shouldn't be punished for wearing a t-shirt from a movie.
The team said the next day he got a call from a friend after he'd left work who said a woman showed up asking about him and things got ugly.
She came in throwing a fit. She's like, "What happened to that kid wearing that shirt? What's his punishment?"
The recent high school graduate said he started working here several months ago to make some money before heading to Washington State University this fall and had not yet been given one of the company's signature vests.
You have to earn those.
He said what happened brought back memories from high school.
Kids calling you the N-word.
And the last place he worked.
At my last job, my manager actually called me a colored boy.
He's not the only one upset.
That was pure, unadulterated discrimination. Lowe's owes him more than an apology.
I want to see change. Like, if something was to happen like this again, they have protocol or something that's like not just you go home.
We did reach out to Lowe's, and the spokesperson says Kyle should have never been told to change his shirt. The company says they have apologized and they plan to use this as a teachable moment.
So again,
did they fire that person?
So again, right, Jill, this is my point. Until Black people start demanding that type of respect, we're gonna keep dealing with this. The way that our people go about, look at what that young Black man said. We live in a fucking world in 2020 where he said with casualty, I was called nigger. My former boss called me colored boy. What the fuck? And so now we went through all of this. Folks like John Lewis and all these people went through all of this shit, getting beaten, sitting there, just getting hit, to only have a people who don't get outraged anymore. And the only time we get outraged is when it's something that is either one of us did to each other, and then we attack that person, and we all attack. I was looking at Roland Martin, and one of these guys put up a meme, and it was true. It was the way Roland Martin had Umar Johnson on his show, and he was treating Umar Johnson so horribly, just so angry, like, what is wrong with you? Then you get Hillary Clinton on there, and you're doing the Kappa shimmy, cheesing and soft shoeing and shit.
Right.
And that's why I don't watch his show anymore, because I'm like, anytime I see my people go after their own people more, even that dumbass woman that defaced the Black Lives Matter sign, right? Our condemnation of her will be in a manner that will be respectful, that will be a takedown of her philosophy, but not destroying her as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the difference. And that's why I say it's important for us to come after the Sambos, because we can come after them intellectually, not in a sense of talking about her way she looks and all this other stuff, but her philosophy and how visceral it is.
From them, because Sambo, I think of that little caricature doll.
We can't use Coon because we'll eventually get kicked off.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying Coon is.
That's what they are, though.
Coon is it either. It is, right. Christine, hey, Christine, it is a teachable moment. I hope he corrects the supervisor. Yeah. Well, I think that was the most troubling thing about it for me was how wounded his spirit was that, you know, he was like, oh, it's just a movie. And like you said, he was like, oh, they call me nigger, they call me this, that, and the other. And the fact that I think he is that way because his experience has been that nobody's going to come to his defense. And then he'll just be a target, and then he'll just have to go through even more heinous things. And so to that point, I do agree with you that some like respect has to be cemented. But remember, how many years we've been free?
Free-ish.
Free-ish, right? Oh my God, there's a shirt, there's a t-shirt, a free-ish. I ordered it the other day. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah.
There's a shirt. I need to get that shirt.
Yeah, I'll see. And it was the link from the link from the sister on here. Oh, I can't remember her name now. She might be on here now. But anyway, she sent me to get she said something, and it was a t-shirt. But I went on the site, and then I saw free-ish, and I was like, no, I like that one better.
So we've only been free the age of 277 or 78-year-old grandmothers. So take a 78-year-old grandma, and if her mother, if you're
160 years.
Yeah, 155.
155 years, and we were enslaved for 400. I think considering we're doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a lot of undoing.
So what I'm saying is that I don't judge my people off of.
That's a good one. Said it should be the next Kenya Barris spinoff. He does have another one coming.
Who?
Kenya Barris. Black.
Roy. See, Roy gets it. Roy fucking gets it.
I want to meet the supervisor needs to be fired for supporting the racist customer and not defending you. Yes, that's what I thought he was gonna say, is that the manager got fired.
That's my point, Jill. Like, we need people like fucking Roy. That's what I'm saying. Like, you need.
Well, that's what I said. Somebody needed to pull up and be like, okay, well, I'm sorry. That's not gonna happen.
I'm talking about us in general. So like these Zennials, the younger kids, they have that energy. And if you can help them to massage their message, and that's what we're doing over the summer. Like, we have to be able to, someone said we need to speak about reparations.
Yes, Maxine.
I mean, we are the thing
that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that all of the stuff, you know, what's going to be unfortunate though, when Biden wins, many of the things that we're talking about are probably going to be silenced, because it's just the nature of when the Democrats get in office. People are going to be like, okay, good. Black people are good now. And then they're going to stop. And so and that's the thing that scares me about Biden. Yeah, because Biden, he's already demonstrated that he's not going to have our interests like at the forefront of what he's doing. And that's fine, because he said it. And overall for the country, things are going to be better for the judicial system. And I'm really only supporting Biden because of his secretaries, because Trump's secretaries are so incompetent. They are so incompetent that it causes a lot of problems on the local government level, the way that it's just a disaster. So he has to leave. However, I think that Biden will have a very, very competent cabinet. However, I really want to see a Bloomberg style plan, because that Bloomberg was my guy. You know, I wanted Bloomberg to win because Bloomberg was the only one that had a financial plan for Black America, and he was acknowledging that he fucked up. And that was my thing. Like Biden didn't really acknowledge like, yeah, I was racist, or I am racist, and I'm going to give you guys this trade-off. That was Bloomberg. Bloomberg was like, you know what? Stop and frisk. That was a big mistake. So let me give y'all some money, because that's the only language I understand anyway. That was it.
But Biden thinks that he did his part because he was Obama's road dog for 8 years. So
that was so disrespectful when he met with Charlemagne, and he was just pretty much like, "Oh, I've done enough for you guys."
Right, pretty much. Literally, it really was. Said he was giving Native American Indians reparations, and Nope. Need to keep the same energy to one, get this COVID under control, two, continue to defund, restructure funding the police. I'm with that, Maisha. Or not. Somewhere making a whole lot of goddamn money.
Bloomberg is somewhere being white, rich, and racist. That's what he's doing. Oh God, Bloomberg is over. He's over. I mean, he's the 8th richest person in the world. But he's doing whatever he wants to do. That's what
girl. So I was about to ask Cheryl a question, but when you said that, right, it made me think about why is it that our Black, almost billionaires are always so silent?
Because they're happy with being considered rich and not Black.
Or is it the fear that they will make themselves a target?
No, they love. You got to think about it, Joe. Once you become, even in Kanye's speech, he goes, I was speaking to a fellow billionaire. Like, what? Like what type of self-esteem boost do you need to make yourself feel good at night? I mean, and the fact that he pressured Forbes to report that he hit $1 billion mark, like he said,
Kanye, he don't count. I'm talking about like the brother that
Robert Smith
that paid for all the I'm talking about those kind, and Robert Johnson and his wife.
I met both of them. I mean, they I'm telling you, Jill, when you get rich, you remove yourself from being Black because you don't want to now remember or participate in a powerless experience. Because the moment that you start identifying and having solidarity with Black people, it diminishes the worth of your social capital at your golf club, at the restaurants that you frequent, at your social club. These people have social connections that there's no Black people in the room. And so when you now are married to non-Black people, both Robert Johnson, Kanye, and all of these billionaires, they're around nothing but white, very rich white people.
Black.
Huh?
Well, his first wife was Black. He got everything.
Who? Robert Smith?
Robert Johnson.
Well, yeah. I mean, but like I said, these and her included, they're not around. The only other Black people they're around are rich Black people. And when you're rich, you're no longer identifying with the struggle of a people.
She shows up in places. It's just not places. She never wants attention brought to the fact that she's there, but she shows up.
The majority of Black people do not live in the suburbs.
The majority. I was going to say the majority of them don't. But to your point though, all of these movements are gain traction because there's a hierarchy that has money, and if we can't, we can't convince those that are in the room that their agenda is not being carried out 5 or 6 levels down, and like we need your advice. You were able to make it to the top of the mountain, whatever it is. We need your advice on how we're gonna do the rest of this, because you can't just leave us here. You made it lovely for you, but what about the rest of us?
Yo, that's exactly why we just raised $1 million. We raised $1 million from ordinary Black people. Ordinary Black. We had the call yesterday. It was amazing. And so what we're doing is demonstrating that
back up. Who you raised $1 million doing what?
So
why wasn't I on the goddamn call?
So we created a fund or a capital group that is now in the process of getting its and I'm going to share with you how amazing Jared Davis is a partner and shareholder for Greenberg Trauig. And he was on the call, and he is now serving as our pretty much volunteer counsel. And it was really amazing to have such an incredible person to give us advice and to be able to help us structure this thing legally so that we now are effective. We talked on this show about controlling our economics. We talked about building upon something that is going to mimic what Black Wall Street was, not reinventing the wheel, but really pulling your own resources. We aren't like an investor that can come in with $1.5 million or $2 million out of our pocket and get shit done. We got to link up with 26 people who have $50,000 each that could put it in, and that's what we did. And so it was simply using our platform from Hungry Black Man and putting it out there saying, hey, guys, we need to take our communities back. Stop talking about the Arabs and the Jews and the Chinese and the Asians. And I don't spend time doing any of that. So when people come on my platform, I think in both of us, we don't spend a lot of time talking about other fucking people. We spend all of our time talking about our own people. And that's where Nick Cannon messed up. You're worth $60 million. You know, why are you talking about white Jews or anybody else? Talk about your own people and fix our problems, because all of this anecdotal pseudo history bullshit that they talk in those Hotep circles about the spirit of Ra and this, and we really are Indians and we did what, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is money to these people that control the world. They control the world. They speak one language, and that language is money. And that answers your question of why Black billionaires have no solidarity with Black people, because once you get to that level, the race becomes neutral to them, because now I am in the power structure, because ultimately there really is no racism. It is the power structure. The fact that the 1%, you go back and look at Bacon's Rebellion. That's when everything went to shit, because there was a rebellion with white indentured servants and Black slaves. And so white indentured servants and Black slaves were rebelling against the bourgeoisie class, were rebelling against the land ownership class. And those white people back then was like, fuck that. You know what? Slaves, y'all always be slaves. White people, you can work and eventually you'll get land, and you're better off than the slave. And so that riff was all that was needed. And so from Bacon's Rebellion to now, that the poor whites would say, at least I'm not Black. But now the narrative, now that the country is open to us being a part of that class, once you become a part of that 1% class, your race becomes neutralized, because you have that level of power. And that's why Kanye can literally go on television, have unadulterated rants, have mental psychotic breakdowns, and absolutely no one turns away. It's on every single station. But if someone that didn't have that power or that influence did that, that could be career ending. Kanye can literally do all these things and it does not impact his career. It doesn't impact the fact that people are going to still listen to his music. It doesn't impact the fact that people are still going to buy his shoes. He literally just decried and fucking defamed one of our warrior queen. And no one's condemning him. No one's coming out and saying that when you type in Kanye West, there's not one article from Black media that's saying he was incorrect. This is the historian that we talked to, and this is exactly what Harriet Tubman did. He was wrong, and he's spitting something that is visceral, and he is tarnishing the legacy of our warrior queen. And he is perpetuating the same atmosphere that we are combating right now of violence against Black women, erasing Black women's worth, erasing their fucking contributions. Every warrior on this side of the planet, besides Dessalines and Haiti, every other rebellion that we know of was led by Black women. Nanny of the Maroons in Jamaica, Harriet Tubman. So there was no Black male Harriet Tubman. Why? Because Black women are different. Anyway.
Women, period, are different.
Women are different, yeah. So yeah. So what we're saying is that, you know, when you're able to take back your power, right? It's something that makes people uncomfortable, and do it in a manner that doesn't discredit those who don't have the power. So we're investing, and we're doing this for people who don't have liquidity of $50,000. You know what I'm saying? Like Robert Smith is not making money for people who don't have money. Robert Smith is making money to make money. He is a capitalist. He is the example of a capitalist. And so you know, what we're trying to accomplish with this fund, Jill, what we're doing is this. We have celebrity worship in the Black community. Okay. And so we allow celebrities to do and say things that we would never allow.
We have celebrity worship as a culture, period.
It's detrimental to us, though. It's not detrimental to the other side.
What do you mean?
The other side can do celebrity worship and still have a house, a home, and not embody the philosophy of Future and live a life based off his words. For our people, because we have so many absent fathers in the home, there's no male voice. And the only male voice you hear is from rappers and from athletes. And the way that you're taught to be a man is from rappers and athletes. And so because of that, our kids are walking around thinking they're in a fucking video game with assault rifles, and 1-year-olds end up being shot. 5-year-olds end up being shot. 2-year-olds end up being shot. And so now that narrative is not in any other community besides ours because of the level of influence that the media has on our children. And we don't do a good job.
See, you went back and put it on the media. This is the level of influence that we have on our children. All those artists you just named are black.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the problem.
But like that is if they didn't create it, the media could not spread it. That's what I'm saying. So you can't toss it off to the media. It's the problem that is what Future has decided to put out. Why did he put that out? Because it's his life, it's his experience. Most people, most rappers, or it is the life that they've heard about, and that's what they have to talk about. Like if their father was a billionaire, that probably would end up being their content, but it's not. So where the intervention comes in is like, ho, Will Smith or somebody walking in like, bruh, look at my catalog. I didn't have to do all of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't do that. We have, as much as I love verses, it goes to the core, of who we are and what we do. We can't just, the idea that Will Smith, I'm just using him because that's somebody, LL Cool J, who really has kind of bridged the gap and walked across all lanes, for whatever reason doesn't feel, or that we know of, hasn't felt the need to reach out to some of those rappers and be like, damn, man, you fire. Have you thought about some other content? Have you thought about what some of this content does?
Cuss his ass out.
But this is what I'm saying. How can we just be dismissive of that level, but think that, above that investor level will then get it and somehow reach a Future? Do you see what I'm saying? It's
because
like
the atmosphere. It's like when you go to church and they say that song, a shift in the atmosphere. We have to create the environment that then fertilizes what you want to see grown.
Right.
And so what
you're talking about is two generations. Yes.
No, that's immediate. That's immediate. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
What you're doing is immediate. The impact, the lasting impact of what you do won't be felt. Look at Bob Johnson. That was 20 years it took him to build. When BET first came out, niggas was not watching BET. We're not watching it again now, because it's not run by us and it's not. So he built it, put blood, sweat, and tears in it. We watched it. It became this great monolith. It became a place for us. And then, it started making so much money that, white boys came and said, hey, want to sell that? We'll give you, whatever it is, double the money, because they knew what they had in mind. What did they have in mind? They had in mind that VH1 was about to fall off the edge because that genre of music had fallen off. That kind of pseudo soft rock thing that died, right? All the soft rock stations died, and they needed something new. And wow, look over here. And what did they do? They took everything that should have been products for BET. Look at what makes VH1 famous now. All of that BET became VH1 without the black people having shit to do with it. And if you saw Amanda Seales break down just in tears on The Breakfast Club, talking about how that whole she didn't really come out and say the exact words, but when you listen to her, you hear exactly what she's saying, that whole process just broke her down and made her feel invaluable as a talent and as a person, and she's worked too hard for that shit. Yeah. She did the BET Awards from her damn house. she didn't have a makeup. I mean, and I think a lot of people thought it was shallow when she was talking about she didn't have a makeup artist, she didn't have hair, none of that. And she had to literally do it in her damn house. That would have never fucking happened. Never happened on MTV. Ever, period.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And she was just, I mean, it was really painful. I don't agree with a lot of what she does, but I felt her so deeply when she was like, I have worked my ass off by myself with my own business and made all this happen. Now I'm thinking I'm blowing up and I'm going to BT. And they tell me, no, they don't have a budget for that. I'm going to do the BT Awards from my house. Come on now. And this is what I'm saying. It's like there's got to be, you know, I mean, I want to hope that Beyonce called her, you know, and said, babe, let me tell you how long it took me to get here. And it wasn't until this that I got the respect I deserved.
Why do you? But Jill, the thing is that that's what I'm saying, right? We have to create the environment that forces or fertilizes that activity. When Black people who are ordinary, like ourselves, do extraordinary things, that's what's going to open the door. So what I'm saying,
everybody, Beyonce is ordinary. She just did some extraordinary shit.
You say who?
Beyonce.
No, Jill. What you're asking, how do we now get this level of Black people to be empathetic, understanding, and involved in the issues that affect us in mass? And
or
so,
in a culture that could move that forward, right? Like you all, like okay. So why didn't a group like I'm not saying, but since we're talking about your group, okay, what was it that prevented a group like you all from going to Bob Johnson, be like, Bob, this could go to a whole new level. You need some partners. You ain't got no money.
The respect. That's what prevents us from doing it. The respect, right? So we're not respected until we do something.
No, I'm saying all those men, you just said all those men in the room have gotten to that level of respect. What I'm saying is then what prevented any of Black people in that space? I'm talking Oprah, Magic, all of them, from going to Bob Johnson and saying, hey, we got something with this. Imagine.
Why is that hard for you to get? They don't give a fuck.
But what makes your group different than them? That's what I'm trying to find.
We have our souls intact. These people have literally.
That's what I'm saying. How do you not have your soul intact and reach those levels of success?
That's why you reached it. Do you know how rich I'll be if I had no fucking like moral compass?
Are you saying that Magic Johnson and Kobe had no moral compass?
Anybody who gets incredibly wealthy individual. No, of course Kobe did, because Kobe was an athlete. Kobe didn't have to claw and turn into
nobody, just because, I mean, if that's the case, every athlete would be Kobe.
Well, no, Jill. Kobe was incredibly intelligent. So Kobe was not your average human. And
neither are any of these millionaires and billionaires that are Black. These are not. It's not a normal human being for Black people. That's all and in order to like
his start was not like someone that's, for instance, I'm going to explain it to you like this. We're starting with this thing right here, right? It's equivalent to me saying, okay, we're starting this fund. We get the dirt and we get the building up and now we go, right? I got two options. I can stay moderately rich and now bring on 60 other moderately rich Black people, or I can be like Don Peebles, who's a fucking asshole who used the Mandela fucking issue that H.T. Smith led a boycott, and he came in, established the first Black hotel on Miami Beach, and the moment that he realized that he could make a profit, he sold it. So he abandoned.
But he is definitely the wrong person to use in that example. But first of all, look at his household. Second, that's all he was ever in that shit for. He was an opportunist. He saw an opportunity. He slid in there and slid right back out. That's all.
So
there was nothing. He was in no way connected. He made no disparaging idea that it was about, the Black community.
But what I'm saying is that now, right? You see, I say that shit. I've burned so many bridges to that world because I don't respect what they've done and how they've done it. And so when you do those things, right, that's what creates the disconnect. Because now when you're in business, if you are operating like that and you realize I want to be profoundly wealthy, I now have to do something that will be against the best interests of Black people. Because when you start dealing with that level of wealth,
say that again.
The moment that you start dealing with the 1%er level of wealth on an individual basis, the things that you do and how you operate will only benefit that class, which will inherently be against the best interests of Black people. In order to maintain that level of individualized wealth, the policies that have to be in place so that you don't pay taxes, the policies that have to be in place so that you remain a massive capitalist is in direct abstention to anything that remotely resembles Black liberation. And that's what Bernie Sanders messaging resonated.
So if your group is part of your mission to dismantle that idea.
Yes. So that the wealth is spread. I am not doing this to be individually wealthy. I don't want to become someone that's a Jay-Z that goes, I'm a billionaire. I would much rather see 70 multimillionaires than me sucking up all of this money that I can't spend in 10 lifetimes. And so it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for them to mimic these people.
Put yourself in the room with those people.
Yeah, you got to understand, Jill, these people, the moment that they reach that, they are emulating whiteness because that was never our narrative. Annie Malone, right? Annie Malone was a millionaire, one of the first Black millionaires. Mary McLeod Bethune, first Black millionaires. And you know what they did? They lived lavish lives, but immediately started to donate all of their wealth to their people. Not Mary McLeod Bethune, I'm sorry. Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker opened one of the first co-working spaces in the history of the United States. She opened one of the first incubators in the United States. She wanted to bring in all of these Black entrepreneurs and hairstylists and train them. Annie Malone had sales reps that were making hundreds of, in our equivalency today, hundreds of thousands of dollars, representing her multinational in Brazil and Colombia and Cuba and all of Latin America. People don't realize Annie Malone had a multinational business where she said out of her mouth, her goal was to employ Black people. And so when you look at Robert Johnson, when you look at Oprah, when you look at Jay-Z, when you look at Kanye West, there's nothing stopping them. Kanye West says out of his mouth, I live on a 4,000 acre ranch in Wyoming. And he starts talking about how Black people need to move to middle America, buy land and live on farms. And that's not a bad idea.
It really is not. Yeah.
So my thing is, rather than saying that, Kanye,
Kamau Bell is kind of on that on the next episode.
But my point, Jill, is that if these people care, the same way that you see the simplicity in doing that, you think that they don't see it, they don't give a fuck. It's simple for you. The same way Robert Johnson spent almost $30 million of his money eradicating the debt of those Morehouse graduates is the same way if Oprah truly cared about Black people. If they really cared, they would pick up the phone and call each other and say, hey, look, guys, enough is enough. This is a time where we know we can leverage our funding because of the atmosphere. Guys, we're starting $1 billion fund the same way Bill Gates flew his ass around the world and started that billionaire promise and had all these billionaires commit to giving their fucking whatever the fuck. These guys can do the same thing, but they don't do it because the people at the bottom, which is us, we don't have the power to make them or shame them to do anything. But when we do that, they will participate because they will be shamed. Now you see a Black group here. The only reason that we're working so hard to do it here, Jill, is that when you do it right, when you develop the shit right, and you create something that now others can see and say, damn, Jill can look and say, you know what? Or Teddy Bridgewater, who's a young man who has money, and all these athletes that are here and say, oh, damn, they went from an empty plot of land to a development. And that development now has Black people living in it, has non-Black people supporting it and going and buying food from there and buying items from there. And so now the fucking land's developed. the bills are being paid because it's a residential mixed-use development. You're bringing in Black entrepreneurs, and that cyclical nature of the way that our economy is supposed to work is now working. And so I got 2 years now when my birthday's coming up before fucking 40. There's no way, Jill, that we're going to be able to get what we need to get by not controlling our economy. And so what I'm saying is that the moment you do that, imagine this, Jill. Imagine when that project goes well and we're able now to get enough money to do what Peoples was supposed to do, and we build a luxury boutique hotel on Fort Lauderdale Beach or Miami Beach, and you know it's Black owned, and now you're not doing what Robert Johnson's wife is doing. She owns the Isidore, and it's fucking unattainable for anybody Black. You know?
Well, not anybody, but the average Black person, the average person, period, shit, cannot afford to go to her resort.
But yeah, but
you know, I mean, yes, to your point, and I you know, I don't know. The whole time you were talking, I was thinking about what were the conversations that, I don't know, Oprah and Tyler Perry and maybe Magic. Trying to think of enough Black people to put in the room. Will Smith. What were the conversations that they had, and how did they not come to this, but Tyler did?
So, Jill, you guys think, okay, let's put it on I will explain it to you like this.
No, I mean, that's very simple. That's a one sentence. What is it that Tyler got that they didn't get? I'm just.
Well, what did Tyler? What did he get? What is he doing?
Tyler took his money and built the biggest film studio in the country.
Well, that served him as well.
It's supposed to. I mean, you know, what you do is supposed to serve.
Yeah, well, so that's what I'm saying. We can't look at it in a sense like he's still doing self-serving development, right? Because
he also made a space for, first of all, for all of these.
So we think
companies.
So
we've seen it.
Well, no, we haven't seen anybody produce a film on Tyler Perry shit yet.
4. Will Smith, Eddie Murphy.
I'm not talking about the standard rich Black people. I'm talking about the filmmakers.
No, I mean, I don't know all of the films, but I'm sure if you called up Tyler Perry Studio, the reason why the studio exists and it's making money is because all of these small filmmakers, all these small films that you're seeing on Netflix, etc. That new one, Nia Long and Omar Epps. That was shot at Tyler Perry Studios. Datari Turner has been working with Tyler Perry. Yeah. Tyler Perry did exactly what you're talking about.
He did, yes.
But he was in the room with like 5 other people like him. But they did not see the vision. And not only did he do it, but then he came back and named them studios after the very people who would not get down with him. Do you know what I'm saying? And with no malice and no nothing. But just to show, and I mean, I just thought that was a master move. That it's like, you didn't see my vision, but not only am I going to bring all of y'all to my vision, but I'm gonna name these studios after you too.
Yeah. No, you're right, Joe.
And so I'm saying, so when they are in these fatal affair, thank you, Jacqueline. When they are in these conversations, like that group, like the group that you're putting together, what is it that makes him see that vision? Why didn't you would have thought that Oprah would have been able to see?
He's not a Sambo, Jill. It's simple. He's never been, and he's used the Sambo rhetoric.
But you think Oprah is? You think?
Oh my God, definitely. Okay. Oprah can give a fuck about Black people. That woman is. I don't even want to. But you know what? I feel bad for Oprah. You know why I feel bad for Oprah? Because Oprah was done so wrong by our community when she was younger. She had such bad examples of what Black men should be. So it's her narrative, right? Like her life was one big ball of like self-hate. And so when she and think about it, when all those people telling her, no, not her perpetuating self-hate being perpetuated on her by other people. because they would say horrible things about the way she looked. She talked about how a black production manager told her that her eyes were too far apart and that she wasn't attractive enough. And so, you know, when you have that going on and you're successful, you build up almost like a resentment, and you build up this idea now of like, you know what, this community treated me so badly, and you know, white people, all of her white women, because like Oprah did a mad shift when I was younger. All of my mom's friends, all of the older black women, they didn't fuck with Oprah. This was in the 90s. And I remember when she became a billionaire, all of a sudden she started sliding over to black women embracing her. But before that, it was like Oprah only cares about white women. And even Barbara Walters.
That's not true. I'm from Detroit, my family from Chicago. We fucking worshipped Oprah from
Barbara Walters,
I was 7 years old.
Barbara Walters asked her that. That's how serious it was. Barbara Walters, he had to ask her and say, hey, listen, your reputation.
You don't think Barbara had some other intentions of asking Oprah that goddamn question?
I don't know what that woman's intentions were.
Without black women.
What'd you say?
Oprah would have never been Oprah without black women. Period. When we were watching her ass on AM Chicago, okay, she was not. Yeah. But when I understand that, because she did, you know, as she grew in order to, and she's talked about that times that, you know, she felt like she had to have such a multicultural experience for people to take her seriously. Much of what you're saying, but you can't negate that we are always the ones to get you there. The black community will always be the ones to get you there. Now, when you get white women love them some Oprah, some black women do too. Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to. Is anybody here from Chicago or Detroit or St. Louis or like, you know, that corridor where, you know, Oprah was prominent? Like, I mean, as early as like I could say 7. We're addressing Oprah's early life traumas, but I'll say my grandma always loved Oprah. You know, when you speak to, you know, I will tell you that, you know, it's at every level. I've had still encounter every possible trauma of being a black woman in media. You have to work in spite of. I mean, it's, you know, we're just like the double. And I think I'm a triple effect, right? I'm black, I'm fat, and I got a big mouth. So, you know, it's like we could tell you stories. However, you can't. And most times it comes from black folks. White folks just won't say it to your face. They just will make moves to let you know that, you know, they're discriminating against you for many reasons. They may not tell you which ones. But I don't think that I would just say that kind of feeling doesn't necessarily make you turn on your community. And so I just find it, I think there's so much of where we're going, right? Bob Johnson is not going to reach out to you. Mr. Johnson sold BET to his white counter. He did not care about his community. Once again, a black man enjoying the fruits of his struggle, capitalism at the fight. So then why are we pursuing money if we know that, and if everybody that has pursued money prior to us had to abandon who they were to get it? I think that's sort of where I'm going, because it's like everything about the ascension to wealth is about decreasing who you are, and then everybody is going to be the one to change that.
This is why, and that's part of the celebrity worship. And this young lady said, granted, that black women supported Oprah, but when things got rolling, she did in fact cater to her white audience more, specifically the middle-aged white women in the upper working class, who probably were either stay-at-home moms or teachers who spent their afternoons
watching her show.
Watching her show.
You know why, Anissa? Because she had us on lock already.
Same thing Nikki said. Yeah, I stopped watching her show when Oprah started. See what you said, Jill? That's the problem. And that's why I don't respect Oprah. When you now get,
I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm just saying that that's what happens, and that's what always happens. We build, everything is built on our backs, and then once we built it, then white people become interested in it, and then you run off after that money, and the Black community is still basically in the same place. And that's what I'm saying. Somebody like now, counterpoint to that is that I can't think of too many other people that are more maligned than Tyler Perry for that character. I mean, how bad do Black people talk about Tyler Perry? You know what I'm saying? But he won in spite of it.
That's when the Black person. I want everyone to understand something. The Black people who are anyone that's for Black liberation is going to be disliked. They're going to be talked about. They're going to be shunned. And we need to understand that if you're not being talked about or shunned, you're not going to, be for Black liberation. I think that what you're trying, she goes, when it comes to capitalism, we need to acknowledge that Black elitists are not for the Black community, no matter how performative they are on their platforms. When they open their purse, I'll reconsider my statement. No, you're absolutely right. And so my thing is that if you now are in the mind of saying, I am going to collect a disproportionate amount of wealth and can you imagine if Jay-Z had Harriet Tubman's mentality or goddamn Kanye West had Harriet Tubman's mentality? Why aren't they doing a giving pledge? Why aren't Black billionaires doing a giving pledge to the Black community the way Bill Gates did a giving pledge with Buffett? And so what I'm saying is that I realize that, What'd you say?
I'm just thinking, what do you think would happen if the Black community asked him that question out loud and in public?
He wouldn't have any words.
But when I mean, back to your point about the Jews, I mean, all our business is down the street. And I don't think that we can adapt. We're in a different place. We need not look to somebody else to adapt how they did it.
Exactly.
But we don't maybe we should be calling each other out in that way.
Well,
nothing else is worth. What's gonna work? It's you are rich, you are wealthy, you are because of us, because I spent my $12, $15, $20, $120 on tickets. We started all the same thing with Oprah and all of them. It's the same. And I say that because as I'm listening to you, we're on different sides of it, right? I documented as an entertainment journalist, I documented the rise of all these people, right? And on the other side, as a person in finance and fluidity and ascension of Black wealth, it looks completely different, right? So how does the power of all of that come together so that this next movement benefits from all of that? Do you know what I'm saying? Because you see, we are clearly discussed all that has happened, right? So now, let's just start with your group. Now, how do you avoid that from happening? How do all of these people in here, in their small groups, avoid that from happening and get on the road to that? Because it is all these little micro groups that decide to come together. Okay, yep, we got 6 friends, we each got 10 grand, we're gonna buy this duplex and we're gonna build. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody, how do we get us in that energy on whatever level you are?
By having one of the things that we do well, Black people, Black Americans do well, is that we need sacrificial lambs, right? We need one person to say, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. And then once you do it, everyone will jump on. And that's what we're trying to do. We've seen groups try to be formed here with real estate where they were trying to say, oh, we're going to buy back the block. And they all took their asses down there, bought one house and fixed the shit up. And I was like, no, this
what
is
happened to that, by the way?
Because they were skittish in the way that they were investing. You got to put in some real fucking money. You can't be doing this 5,000, 10,000. No, you got to put in at least $50,000 to $100,000, and you need to link with other people who can do that. And so some people even got upset with me because they were inboxing me saying, hey, I want to be a part of the group, but I only have $1,000. I only have $5,000. I only have, this is not the group for you because of the way that we are structuring it. It has to be people coming in at a minimum,
right,
at a minimum of maybe 25,000. And we really want 50, but most people are coming in at 50. So what I'm saying, Jill, is this: once this development is done, right? And once our investors start seeing their return, that's when I can go to these people that you're naming and say, listen, we did what you said that you needed us to do, so that you can be confident that your investment will not go to waste, that it will be transformative, and that we now are, because my ultimate goal, right, is to be able to work with the county and rebuild these public housing spaces. There's a lot of land in the county that it's from the federal government is funded to build affordable housing and public housing on those properties. And so my idea was that, okay, one of the challenges is that in the ghettos, in the inner cities that we have, there's just an absence of innovation. There's an absence of Black intellectualism. There's an absence of anything that's remotely positive in Black. And so what do you do with building something and having a design where it is going to, this is the other problem, Jill. Most of these Black, very wealthy people, when people like us come to them, we're coming to them in a charitable sense. We're not coming to them in the language that they speak, which is the white man's language. They don't speak our language anymore. So their souls are gone. So I recognize that. So I only can do two things with you. It's either going to be a financial move for you, or it's a public publicity stunt for you to then participate. And so that's the area that I'm going to go in. So once we get to where we need to get, we then do a lot of PR, and then you're going to get the Jay-Z or someone to go, okay, I'm going to invest 1.5, some menial bullshit amount. I'm going to invest 1.5 million in this fund because the idea is to replicate it in their towns. So once we do it here, we link with Black people in Charlotte and we do the same thing there. We link with Black people in Savannah and we do the same thing there. We have to be successful in South Florida to show it can be done. So 26.
Are you working with Udonis on that?
No, we don't have any celebrities, Jill. It's all normal people. They're not going to do anything.
Udonis is what happened to his? He's had a whole program. That was last year they announced that, of the affordable housing that he was buying up down.
Yeah, he's working on his thing with his company. Our thing is not, we are not interested in celebrities right now. We're interested.
Okay, so the only reason why he wouldn't be a part is because he's a celebrity? Come on now.
No, I said interested, meaning that my energy is directed toward the everyday Black person, because I need us to understand that
the everyday Black person don't have $50,000.
Actually they do, and that's what I'm saying to you is that's what I'm saying to you. The people in our group who I can't name, right? The people in our group, that's 20 Black people with a disposable income of $50,000. The same way someone put on there was like, the absent Black father is a myth, right? Like, unfortunately, I put the Newsweek article up there. A little over half of Black households are single parent households, and that's a ridiculous amount. A little more than half. So come on, that's not a myth. That's something that is a reality.
I'm sure many of us on this thread came from single parent households.
And so I didn't. And so I can't go around, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is that I understand. Someone said, how will your group be different? That's how our group is going to be different. The development that let's take Audrey Edmondson's development that she did on 62nd Avenue and 7th Ave. 7th Ave and 62nd, 7th and 62nd. That it's like this, it was this big deal. It was going to be this transportation hub. It was going to be this big bus terminal, movie theater, connectivity to other economic opportunities. And so you start seeing the economic development in our communities are just like Jill talked about the Miami Gardens development that was built and how it was underwhelming. And so my thing is that I see this all the time. I see that they come in Black communities and one or two things happens, Jill. Mm-hmm. You'll see these politicians tout a development and they build it and it's aesthetically unpleasing. When you go to Aventura and you see their shopping centers, you see the way their architects design their buildings, because their zoning and their code and all that other shit, it has to work in tandem of the city's spirit. You can't just go in there and build what the fuck you want to build. You can't paint that shit any color you want to paint it. And so when you look at the way they build Black affordable housing and Black workforce housing, it's this, you know, the windows are these impact windows that are cheap as fuck. They slide back and forth. The balcony, if they have one, is so small that only a fucking Cocker Spaniel can fit back there. You have this, I mean, it's disastrous. And then you look at the developments in non-Black communities and they're fucking beautiful. And so North Miami did a great job with Solomia. North Miami did a great job in developing San. You're not gonna find all these Black people with no $50,000. Who got money like that? And I was like, you guys, the same way that you're in your circles and you can say, hey, look, I know a guy that does this, a guy that can fix this, or a guy that can sell you this. My circles are lawyers, doctors, engineers, architects, and fucking administrators. That's my circle. It doesn't make me an elitist. That's just my fucking circle. So I can pick up the phone and say, hey, look, we got this fund going. I need $50,000. Right. So I'm going to be the first sacrificial lamb because I got to put up my $50,000 because I can't do anything. How the fuck I'm going to ask you to contribute and I'm sitting here and I don't contribute? Right. So I was the first to say, I'm putting in my 25,000. And then they responded back to me and said, well, 25,000 is too small. We don't want the group that big. Make it 50. And I was like, well, goddamn, I don't want to fucking spend the 50,000. But guess what? It means a lot. So the idea, Jill, is that when this happens, and even if the Fort Lauderdale deal doesn't go through, it's going to be something that we do that stands as a testament so that we can now move in our communities. Because why did Related Group get the contract to do the Scott projects over? Right? That was over hundreds of millions of dollars.
No, that's politics.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have right now. Can you name one Black responsible developer that's on the level of Related or on the level of Lennar Homes and any of that shit? The biggest one is in Atlanta. The biggest Black development group is in Atlanta.
No, what's the guy here?
Who?
Henderson. What is the guy's name here? The big Black builder. You know what I'm talking about?
Henderson.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. So my thing is, Jill, is that you know, I grew up in a brand new affordable housing in Miami Gardens, the cheap ass closets and paper thin walls.
Punch a hole through them walls.
No, if you fall in my
you don't even have to punch, really.
You will crash through that goddamn wall. And so Jill, the thing is that once we start doing that type and we start moving in that type of energy, you know how great it's going to be for Black kids that live in the inner city to be like, God damn, like these are Black people building our homes. These are Black people putting in the HVAC. These are Black people putting in the roads and the streets and the private, like that. I listen, we're just ordinary people, but we have big visions. And there's no way that I'm going to leave this planet. And that's why I was so upset with fucking goddamn Nick Cannon. That shows you what these people think. Did you see what he said?
No.
Talking about he ready to leave the planet. I was like, what?
Was that yesterday?
Yeah. And then he was like, he pretty much was contemplating suicide because
well, and so was and Amanda Seales said the same thing.
Who was Amanda Seales?
Wow. Okay, I'm not going to tell you. You need to look her up.
I mean, did she do anything worth me knowing who she is? I mean, you said look her up like she Harriet Tubman. What the fuck she did?
I didn't mean like that. I mean, she's a millennial who, really built her own company, and she's talent. She's talent, and she built her own like production company. And she's got, a few interesting things out there. And she started to dismantle. There's a process going on that is very interesting to me, that all of these young entrepreneur Black people are building these platforms that get successful. They have a nervous breakdown and they start falling, all this shit falls apart.
This is what happened, Jill. Nick Cannon, this is Nick, this guy killed himself apparently. Nick Cannon seemed to have contemplated suicide, calling 2020 the most fucked up year I've ever witnessed, talking about his friend who he says took his own life, adding he was in dark contemplation of continuing my physical existence on this planet and admiring his friend who had the balls to do it. It's an alarming message, but not totally surprising. Nick's been called out from all sides, it seems, this week after his anti-Semitic comments he made on a podcast for which he apologized. Although Nick says he's trying to educate himself as he meets with rabbis and others, he's not being attacked for apologizing. On top of that, Viacom fired him for wilding out. Nick recounted the story of his friend Ryan Bowers, an up-and-coming rapper who Nick signed to his label, who was shot in his home last year by a San Diego cop. Nick says Ryan was in a coma for months and Nick was by his side. Cannon says his friend fought hard, relearning basic functions like walking. Nick says on the surface, Ryan seemed to rebound, returning to perform to sold-out crowds. But behind the veneer, Ryan was hurting, whispering to Nick, everything still hurts. Nick says, I can't help, but I wasn't so engulfed in my own bullshit. I could have been there for you when you finally took your life after several attempts. Fuck this place. We have checked, and the medical examiner tells us Ryan Bowers died Saturday. Nick said on Thursday, I hurt an entire community, and it pained me to my core. I thought it couldn't get any worse. Then I watched my own community turn on me and call me a sellout for apologizing, adding good knife, enjoy Earth. So when you look at shit like that weak bullshit, I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? You're walking around wearing a fucking turban, contemplating pseudo history and talking about the Hebrew Israelites and all this crazy shit. And now all of a sudden you want to sit here and say you want to leave the planet.
I'd like to see your black ass when the whole world, when you do everything in your power to be great, and then the whole fucking world turns on you.
The world didn't turn against him. The world did not turn against Nick Cannon.
You can't,
Who turned against?
No, I'm not trying to hear that at all.
Who turned against Nick Cannon?
Everybody, all the black, as soon as it came out and the Jewish community came out against him, I mean, in droves. It's everywhere. Every time you turn anything, he can't do shit. He can't turn on TV, he can't turn on the internet, nothing within 5 minutes hearing his goddamn name. Then the black community is like, he apologizes. And they're like, you sell out bitch ass motherfucker. So now, wow.
You know what his pivot was with his $60 million? Again, the same shit that we're talking about. You want more. Nick Cannon, you want more. Because if you truly was a follower.
Let me just break it down, because I understand your mental currency. However, these people are human. Right. And just as being exalted gives you strength and power, being admonished by everybody. Now you tell me you're going to stand up in front of all that and be like, fuck y'all hoes. No, you're not. No, the fuck you're not. Okay.
You know what, I've had so many, you just don't.
You've never been you have never been there. You have never been at the point where the entire world at one time is talking about your ass. You've never been there. You do not know what that's like.
So you know what's crazy? You know what's fucking crazy, Jill? The fact that Nick Cannon, who I respect, right? I respect Nick Cannon.
Well, then show him some grace. Shit.
Well, no, but you see how I am not showing him grace. When he made that statement about Jews, okay? When he said all those things that he knew, because he even said it in a fucking interview. He was like, I'm going to watch what I say. You knew you were treading, okay? Right. So now you need to be able to say to yourself, either I am going to stay in these people's house and respect their fucking rules because it is their house. You went in these people's house.
No. See, that's where you're missing, because it's always in the language. You need to. It's like, okay, so all my life I have needed to, and I've done all of these goddamn things I needed to do. And guess what? I'm a star. I'm the biggest star in the world. Everybody loves me, right? And I make one egregious, I'm going to be careful about how I say this statement, and the whole fucking world lands itself on my head.
Okay.
I get no grace. I get none whatsoever, period. Everybody got some judgment about me, from my wife to what I'm doing to my fucking turban on my head. You don't know what that's like.
Why do it? Why do that behavior if you know that you are in a mental state that you can't handle it?
And they trust me, and I feel like I can say this and they'll understand where it's coming from.
Jill, think about it. We put ourselves out here right now on this goddamn show, and we have lost so many friends. Like superficial friends, obviously. But we've lost so many fucking friends, right? We've lost so much grace, because at the end of the day, the same way that I wanted the hammer to come down on Marco Rubio, and nobody fucking got on that goddamn bloodthirst, but they went crazy on Nick Cannon. And I got upset because I'm asking myself, okay, Nick, you believe what you said, okay? And so you said what you said, and they asked you to apologize the first time, and you said no. I am not going to apologize, right? Then they put that heat on you. And when they put that heat on you because you're in their house, Farrakhan's not in their house. So Farrakhan can do and say what he fucking wants, right? Because he's not in their fucking house. And so what I'm saying
is on his own island.
But what I'm saying to you is that the wealth that Nick Cannon has, to your point, he could have, that was a prime opportunity for him to.
He didn't get that wealth like
I don't care how he got it. I'm talking about what he got. If he could have said to himself, I am pivoting because I've left the realms of acceptability from these people. But guess what? When you don't want to leave that world, when you do what you said, where you want to be worshiped or you want to be loved and you want all that shit for people don't give a fuck about you any fucking way.
No, you're missing the point. Who said that you don't like celebrities? I'm starting to get that impression. That you really just don't give them you give them no grace. You don't understand that is, you become a celebrity just on your own being. So if something about you, it's the world saying something about you is really special, and it should be rewarded because it's that special. So then you put everything you have into being that thing, and the world rewards you. And then you say one thing that might be a little, but you feel like everybody, they know me, they know my heart, they know what I mean. And then the whole shit turns upside down on you in 48 hours. I mean, it's unfair to think that you were supposed to just not care and rebound. I don't know what you think you're supposed to do. It's like, do you see how many celebrities they get all of that shit and then they attempt suicide? A really great documentary to watch is Taylor Swift's. I mean, I didn't care about or know Taylor Swift from Amy's House Cat. But after I had so much more empathy for her after I watched her documentary. It's one thing to, and I understand what you're saying. You want to be sort of a quiet billionaire class where everybody doesn't know your name or you're not a celebrity and all of that. But there's nothing wrong with people who do feel like they have a gift and they want to share it with the world, and you want the world to respond to you. If people don't watch this, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like, well, maybe it wasn't any good. Your first thing wouldn't be fuck them. It would be like, wow, well, if it was good, they would have watched. And then they do. They show up, they watch, they appreciate, they enjoy, they have conversation with us, and that's why you do this.
We are not
just do this to hear ourselves talk. You know what I'm saying? You want to share what you are doing in the world with other people. Period. And
so guess what? All of the people, that woman that got upset, when you when you're born, okay, and people get opinions confused with judgment because the opinion doesn't jive with being fucking nice. And
what is different?
It's a huge difference because the opinion that you share on a particular issue, topic, or subject area, if it is based off your life experiences, your understanding, and your interpretation of that particular experience or example, you offer how you understand that. And so it's not a judgment. I'm not judging Nick Cannon. I'm not judging celebrities. What I'm saying to you,
when you call somebody a Sambo, that's a judgment.
Well, no, that's that when you call someone a Sambo and they do Sambo shit, that's a conversation that you now can make a decision to decide if that Black Lives Matter woman was a fucking Sambo for throwing tar on a fucking emblem that represents Black lives. Like,
right, that is our judgment of her.
That is a judgment.
And it's a judgment. That's what I'm saying. So it's
no, but what I'm saying about Nick Cannon, I'm not judging Nick Cannon, right? I'm simply saying to Nick Cannon, okay, listen. You believe the shit that you said on that podcast. You believed it. So don't apologize for some shit that you fucking believe. That's why you wear the turban. That's why you're a Hebrew Israelite. That's why you follow the philosophy. And so when Farrakhan says some shit, when he got on that speech, that's what I appreciate about Farrakhan, because he's like, listen, you are taking my words out of context. I don't believe that. Go ahead.
Anissa.
Nick went into a situation unbeknownst to the severity of how it would play out. He's allowed to have his feelings about being caught off guard. I don't care about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that, Jill, I'm talking about the fact that if you go and you are believing, you are the believer of a philosophy, that Hebrew Israelite, the Hoteps and all, it's a pseudo religion. They believe this stuff. And so my thing is, when you shared on the podcast with Griff, imagine what Griff is thinking right now. Griff went through the fucking fire. Griff was fired from Public Enemy. Griff was never as famous as Nick Cannon. Well, what I'm saying, but there you go, minimizing the impact.
No, but the response is different. That's not minimizing him. The response is different from Professor Griff to Nick Cannon, who has had a show on every network on television, was married to Mariah Carey. That's like, I don't know how random else I could make that.
But when Griff got fired from Public Enemy, what I'm saying to you,
the world did not stop for a day.
What I'm saying is that the pain and his storm, right? We are now measuring the impact that it has on a person's psyche. Guess what, Jill? I can blow my brains out from you saying something to me as opposed to someone that needs the whole world saying it. It's not the levels of pressure. It's how you interpret the pressure. It's who you are as a person. Because Farrakhan, look at what he's dealing with. This is what Farrakhan is called an anti-Semite. Farrakhan's called a hate mongerer. Farrakhan
could give a shit.
That's what I'm telling you. It's about the fucking person. It doesn't matter how famous you are.
No. See, you can't. I would never compare Professor Griff's level of involvement to Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan gave his life to a movement because he believed and he has studied his entire life. Nick Cannon and Professor Griff, as they grew, were introduced to people who introduced them to things. If that was comparable, Griff would have given up all of that, become a member of the nation, and led the life that Minister Farrakhan did. That is the shield and protection that Minister Farrakhan has. That there's nothing you can say to him and about him that would deny who he has been and what he has given up to be that and be committed to what he believes. Nothing and nobody.
So then
everybody against Farrakhan has never fucking won.
So Nick Cannon,
nobody made that kind of commitment.
So Nick Cannon should not have participated in Farrakhan rhetoric if he was not prepared to receive Farrakhan's experiences. And that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I don't think that. I don't know. Let me think of how I can reach you on that space, because it's a totally different thing for Nick Cannon to, get to the pace where he's kind of being enlightened and he's read a couple of books and, you know, he knows a few things about him.
And he should not have spoken along the lines.
He apologized because he realized I am not really adept and learned enough to be offering this conversation.
No, Jill, that's not why he apologized. He apologized because they twisted his arm. He did not apologize when they asked him to do it the first time.
We don't know why he really. We don't know.
What we know is that he said no the first time around until he was fired. After Viacom fired him, he apologized. And then they salvaged his show on Fox.
Right.
So the bottom line is, do not step out there with that rhetoric if you are not prepared to die on it. That's the bottom line, because now you're mad because black people, that's all black people are saying. We're tired of that shit. If you step out and you say some Afrocentric shit, and now black people go, oh shit, Nick Cannon said some real shit. Or Nick Cannon spoke about something that, let's have a conversation about that. Let's have a conversation about the Hebrew.
But isn't that what he said?
No, that's not what he said. He did a spineless apology.
I mean, I didn't like the apology, but within that apology, he said, I don't know enough about this to be talking about it.
So you call that stupid. No, that's not. And that's my thing, Nick Cannon. You know enough. You're understanding.
He did not know enough about to be. If he knew enough, if that had happened to Minister Farrakhan would have came chapter and literally any of the fruit, any of them could have came chapter and verse and gone toe to toe for them. They'd still be going toe to toe.
You know why Nick Cannon didn't go
have that level of experience or guidance. He did not know, and that's what tripped his ass up. If he did, I just believe if he did have the depth of knowledge that he needed to be having that conversation, he'd have went toe to toe for them too. It's like, well, fuck it, y'all gonna take everything. Well, let's break it down. Let's really have this national conversation. Do you think Farrakhan would have ever apologized for shit? No, because he has got his truth and his work to back him up. Nick did not have that in that conversation.
So he should have immediately apologized.
He did.
No, he didn't. He did not immediately. He apologized after. That's why they fired him, because they told him.
Public comment. The only one that the general public heard was him apologizing. Now, whoever heard
he made another comment after. I'm gonna read it to you. When it first came out, he said, Nick Cannon's talk show on hold following anti-Semitic comments. Nick Cannon apologizes. Nick Cannon fired, demands apology. Oh, here we go. This is what Nick Cannon said, Jill, right? Let me show you what he said initially so you understand why I'm having this conversation with you and how we now have to be able to be in defense of the things that we believe, if you believe it, and then change from there. Nick Cannon is demanding an apology from Viacom, as well as full ownership of the billion-dollar brand Wild 'N Out after being fired by the conglomerate for in Viacom CBS words, promoting hateful speech and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories on his podcast. Cannon, who also hosts Fox Masked Singer, was let go by Viacom just days after episode of the Cannon's Class podcast went viral, of alluding to several prominent anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Explaining the decision, a rep for Viacom said all his bullshit. Now in a 15-word, this is what he did after he was fired. In a 1,500-word Facebook statement titled Truth and Reconciliation, Cannon alleges that he did in fact try to apologize and went as far to reach out to Viacom Sherry Redstone to have a conversation of reconciliation, only to be met with dead silence. And you can read this article for yourself. And that's the shit that I'm saying about the fucking Jewish people that I fucking love. And that's how we need to be. I don't want to hear you say shit about nothing, Nick Cannon. You came at my people wrong. You're going to fucking suffer. You're going to be condemned. And I'm going to show you how that fucking feels when you come after us. And I'm going to show all you other black people, if you come at us, this is the shit that's going to happen to you. Right. And instead of Nick Cannon saying, I know where this is going, I came at you like a man to apologize to you, but your goal is to fucking shame me. Your goal is to fucking destroy me. So now, before you do that shit, I'm gonna be a black man, collect myself up, and walk the fuck up out of here. I got my 60 million. That's where I am. And so now the pivot that I'm gonna take is gonna be here now. But instead, you now grovel and post an apology that you didn't write, that is spineless and just pathetic. And now black people who sat there and was like, man, do we truly have a black man who is going to be unmoved right now? Is Nick Cannon going to be that guy? Because all we needed was him to do that shit, and he would have set off a domino effect, but he didn't. And then you want to turn around. You don't want to fucking kill yourself.
All we needed was for him to have studied long enough to be able to do that.
You think this man? First of all, Jill, the stuff that
you would die if he is like every black man of conviction that I know, he'd have died on that hill.
No, Joe, he realized, I'm telling you, because think about what he said. First of all, you said some shit that wasn't even fucking historically accurate. It was an opinion based off the fact of why white people are fucking violent and aggressive. And so he talked about the Caucasoid Mountains and them not having pigment and all that other stuff.
Right.
There is no defense for that. You can't defend that because it's not factual. It's a belief.
That's what I'm saying. So why did he say it?
Because he fucking believes it. I'm telling you.
So if he believed it, then he should have came with all his facts and figures and died on that.
But that's the thing, is no facts. I can't prove where white aggression comes from. It's a theory. He was promoting theories. And so guess what? You can believe the theories, but you were on there saying anecdotal shit. So he can't do that.
If you believe, so what would Farrakhan have done if he were Nick Cannon?
Farrakhan doesn't say anecdotal shit like that. Farrakhan says
my point exactly.
Huh?
That's my point exactly.
But that's my point. But no, that's my point. So Nick Cannon, you're spreading rhetoric. First of all, the Hebrews, we don't even know if factually they were a people. You don't know that for a fact who the Hebrews were. They don't exist.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm missing. It's like if I tell you, if I start having a conversation with you about how this iPhone was created, and I get to the level of, what I know about it, and then you come with some other shit. It's like, well, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to shut up because I don't know. I'm gonna just be talking outside of my head. I'm really gonna sound fucking crazy, right? So if he reached the level of his understanding and enough of the right people came to him, it's like, dog, what the fuck are you talking about? Chapter and verse, nigga, this is what happened, right? What is he supposed to do but apologize?
You know how much ammunition Nick Cannon had to defend that statement, but he didn't do it. Nick Cannon is well learned. I've listened to his podcast.
That's what I'm saying. So if that is the case, then why did he apologize?
Because they fucking would have annihilated him.
So would you have apologized?
Hell no.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna say no shit. I'm not gonna say no shit that's not fucking that I don't truly believe. And if I said the shit, I'm gonna have a conversation for you to now, just how Donnie Spikes came on the show and educated me on some shit. That's what I'm gonna do. And you know what? I put a fucking post up. No, I put a post up. Let me show you that Jewish people
on my post. About him, he couldn't do that.
Look at this shit.
Could not do that.
No. He went. Jill, think about what he did. He said, I went to try and apologize and have a conversation, and they shut me down.
And they told him, fuck you.
When you saw that, there you go. Now, this is my thing about the self-hate. Nick Cannon talking about he gonna kill his motherfucking self. If that was a black man, the way that the energy that we walk in, when I say, look, Marco Rubio needs to fucking apologize, but I got all these fucking black people under my shit saying, oh, it was a mistake, and don't fire this person.
If all the black people under your shit were telling you, you pussy ass nigga, what's wrong with you? How the fuck you gonna let them do that shit to you? Bitch ass, that's why you married that white woman. You fucking ass, turban wearing piece of shit. If that's all you was getting all day long from all the black people you just supported, all the fucking restaurants you went to and blew up their shit, everybody you thought was riding for you, and they just kept coming at your ass constantly. So that's, yeah, kill yourself because you ain't worth shit to us. You really think you just down and none of that shit gonna affect you?
So this is the thing, right? There's three things to that, Jill. The audience of people that are doing that to him are his brethren in that world of the turban wearing, rhetoric spitting people. They believe this stuff. So when he retracted it, you got to think these are the people that have inboxed him, emailed him, went to their temples, had these conversations, the reason why he's wearing the turban. So when he went against that this is their religion. This is their beliefs. So when he went against that, they're looking like, think about how they feel. Oh my God, we spent all this time enlightening
on
you.
And look how you turned out. Right. So
exactly. he should have acknowledged that is going to be the reaction. And so instead of you now being surprised and now being potentially suicidal because you thought something was going to happen and it didn't, those people are saying those types of things. If you come from a group of people,
blanket of misery of fame.
You say what?
I said, and that is the blanket of misery of fame. Because of all of the fame and adulation, you believe that these people are going to forgive you just offhand. Like, cause you Nick. That's why they blew you up. Like, wow, ain't nobody gonna ride for me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's right or anything, but I'm telling you that's what it does. We exalt these people like they're superhuman, and then they fuck up, and then they crash to the ground, and they're on the ground. And we stabbing them in the back. Yeah. And I'm not making any judgment on that except to say that that's what it is, and you can't deny that that's what it is. It's like having it's like if a woman is in love with a man and just gives up everything for him, and then she finds out he's fucking cheating, and she might, it's like the whole world falls apart. It's like, my God, I just gave up my whole life for you, and you are fucking somebody else.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. It's that.
But you don't think the audience of people, someone said his turban is from Sikh, some other stuff. So whatever, I apologize. I don't know why he wears a turban. However, what I'm saying, the people that he now studied from, learned from, cooperated with, you don't think they feel betrayed? You don't think they feel betrayed? It really doesn't matter because he is now on an island alone.
But that's what I'm saying. The people that I learned from, now you hate me because I didn't stand up for us. The people that, the white people that love me, how dare you after all we've done for you? His family, how dare you shame us?
You gotta pick a side. Trump picked the side. Trump embraced those.
Oh my God! Okay, it's time to go.
No, I'm saying
put up Trump as a symbol.
No, Jill, listen to what I'm saying. See, I'm not shutting you. I'm trying to explain. Trump is a slime bag, and he decided when he ran and he saw his tribe, he was like, "This is my tribe." And I'm going to say anti-Semitic shit. I'm going to say racist shit. I'm going to say homophobic shit, because guess what? These are my ride or die. And I don't give a fuck about what these other people are saying. And I'm going to keep double down on this rhetoric. Nick Cannon, then you were on a public platform where your words, where your sentiments, they have to be Wayne Brady. You were in a space to be Wayne Brady. So you can't go and be Wayne Brady in the day and Farrakhan at night. You can't do that. And so I respect the people that said to him, you can't do this. You think that no one warned him before? Of course, there were plenty of warnings, but he was unabashed and he gave off this Farrakhan energy. And that's why he takes pictures with him. That's why he's with him. But then you realize I'm not Farrakhan, that I can't give this up. I want to still remain to be Wayne Brady. I still want to be him. Well, Nick, you can't have every fucking thing. Either you're going to be For
But
one
okay,
thing,
that you just said it right there, and that's what I'm saying. Up to that moment, yes, he could have everything.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
Well, that's selfish.
Okay.
So you are experiencing what happens when you get too selfish.
Okay.
And so then when I say that, I'm fucking judging. And so the thing is
I mean, but that okay, but maybe yes, you're right. Maybe it's true. Maybe that's what happens when you get that selfish, and you know that all of it goes to all of this happens, right? So
I put up a post, Jill. Let me show you how.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what happens. So, he's human, like everybody else.
No, Jill, and I'm not saying, I'm just simply explaining to you why I put this post up, right? And I'm going to show you how this Jewish lady went under the post, who I'm familiar with. We're not friends in real life or even on Facebook for that matter, but she's commenting on things here and there. And so I put this post up, and she tried in many ways to kind of make it look like I was being anti-Semitic. And I'm gonna put it up right here.
Thank you, Audra. Audra's like, y'all are so goddamn off topic. I am not staying here today. But yes.
Off topic.
Working. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was it on the screen at some point. Did you put up that's what I mean.
Everything we're talking about is on goddamn topic.
Okay, so well, maybe she thought we were gonna. I'm rushing today working, but I'm gonna send you both info you can share for tomorrow night Zoom meeting of judicial candidates hosted by the Florida Association of Criminal Defense. Thank you, Audra.
Thank you, Audra. So I put this up, and I said I need to learn from the Jewish leadership on how to silence people when they come for me and my people, because they got it perfect.
Yeah.
And so this is what Amy says. She goes, StarX, you have an important platform. I like so much of what you write about, but this is way off the mark. If you have an interest in learning about Judaism and want to build our community, I invite you to my table for a socially distant Shabbat. My response, I want to learn how to defend my people in this climate. And she goes, I believe the world works best when we work together and are allies. I believe in operating on truths and not suspicion. My offer stands. I said, who talking about suspicions? What are you talking about? And I said, I will come to the dinner. When is it? We will plan it. I'll be in touch so you can choose the date that works. I said, perfect. And then my brother came in with this. You are correct. It does work best together. However, what you just did was give Mr. Smith a sandwich, as we call it in the sales world. You kind of silence him with your comment. My father worked for a Jewish corporation for 50 years, and I understand the religion and culture. It's simple. If you want to come to the table, we need your help. And when I say I mean the Jewish community, to stand with the Black community and not always be so quick to say who is anti-Semitic. We have been waiting for centuries, yet Lastidia has always judged us by sight. I believe you are a good person. And then they go and they have their little conversation. And I was really, really, my other family, the Mustafas, I know for sure. And they just had that very candid conversation. It was very, very cordial, but I appreciated the Black brother coming to not even necessarily to the defense, but simply saying, like, the way that Amy phrased her response to my plea was a problem. Because when you look at it, you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm asking you guys to stand in solidarity with Black people. It would be great if Jewish leaders ran a PR course on how to defend against discriminatory rhetoric, right? And that's what I said to the brother. I said, and yeah, Trevor, that's exactly what he did. Exactly what he did. And so what I said to the brother in the post was that I appreciate him saying that, because I couldn't have phrased the words in that manner. I couldn't have phrased the words in that manner. I couldn't have phrased the words in the manner that he put it. So it was non-combative, and it was very, very refreshing. So all I'm saying, Jill, I get what you're saying, and I'm glad that you said what you said. I get what you're saying about the fact that Nick Cannon can become, it can be the world on his shoulders. But what I'm saying to you, and I want to get your thoughts on that, is the fact that why did you go in those waters if you weren't prepared for the boat to rock?
Because people do dumb shit. And he's probably done a lot of other dumb shit like that he got away with. And not this one, buddy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's. I think a lot of times it's just that damn simple. But because they're celebrities and etc., we are, what your mistake is going to go worldwide as opposed to, even ours in this space is going to go here. And, I mean, I've had that. I've had the personal experience of saying things on the radio that people just were like, I'm like, what? How did you get that out of what I said? But you just never know. And when when you have the bright, hot light, I know what's happened. I know what I have covered. I know the times that I have done stories on people and I gave them absolutely no grace whatsoever. And I regretted it. Sometimes I went back and fixed it. Sometimes I didn't. I also know that as I get older, and doing this work, that everybody deserves the chance to just fall on their damn face and not have the world stomp their head into the ground.
That's not gonna ever fucking happen because it doesn't happen for normal goddamn people. This is the same thing that happens when you're
oh my God, I cannot tell you how many times I have been forgiven for shit. I mean, for as many times as for the 1 or 2 times that I just fucked up and did some dumb shit, I have been forgiven 20 times over.
Well, guess what? Your experience is massively different from mine. Every job I've ever had,
and that's why we're here.
Yeah, I've never been forgiven for shit that I've done, and I can even do, Jill. I can do some shit that's halfway fucking. This shit can be as positive as ever, and guess what? It's someone to go, oh, you did. So it's constant, like you have no idea. Jesse said the amount of racist, and this is a good point that I didn't look at. The amount of racist hatred that platforms like Twitter allow unfiltered is endless for people who put themselves in situations that Nick Cannon did. He gets nonstop threats of violence from white supremacists, which contribute to his mental health, stress, and depression.
Yep. And then when the person kills himself, everybody's like, damn, that's a punk ass way to go.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
once our people realize that they really don't love us, they love what we bring to the table, which is why they need to maintain their own table. So you really don't care what they think. Nick has studied various religions, groups, and wears a turban for his own personal beliefs, not following a particular group. His mouth moves faster than his mind, or maybe, again, he knew exactly what he said, not fully understanding the consequences. It's a podcast. That's his job. However, say what you mean and mean what you say. Starks, you have been forgiven for stuff. Think about it. Maybe not as often as you would like, but we've all been shown grace. If you need examples, call me. And so Aisha, yes, I'm talking about when it was at a level that it controlled my life, my economy, the ability to pay my bills, people with power. Hungry Black Man is optional. I don't have to do that. I'm talking about things that actually, I don't make any money from Hungry Black Man unless I'm doing a festival or something like that. Everything I do for Hungry Black Man is charitable. And so my thing is that you're right.
Oh, wow. Did you go all the way back up to the top? Where Shay said, people have been checking Ye since he went off the edge. Now, I mean, look at that. That mother. Listen, because last night was, goodness God.
Where's this at?
It's all the way up at the top from 10 o'clock. But yeah, I mean, I think, look at Kanye. My God. Oh, Jesus, that whole Kanye, Kim, all of that. And I think a lot of times we just.
But think about that, Jill. That's what I'm saying. Like what he said about Harriet Tubman, the black leadership. So think about this, right? The black leadership didn't cancel him. He didn't wake up the next morning like Nick Cannon,
I swear somebody was on his goddamn phone.
But Jill, think about this, right? Kanye did not wake up the next morning like Nick Cannon did to his life about to dismantle, because he put his mouth on our people. Marco Rubio did not wake up the next morning and have his world about to be dismantled.
I completely understand what you mean, Star X, about having that level of discipline within our community to shut things down before they even commence.
But we got that ability.
I agree completely with that. And there are many societal, historical reasons why we are not there, and I applaud your efforts from where you start now, to create that legacy. I'm completely with you on that. Right. I said that's your damn choice. Okay.
It's so much.
But Zan, you hit it on the head. Kanye is brilliant, but mental illness is real.
Jill, what I'm saying about all of these people, and I have a mental disorder myself, and I understand what it's like to have your mental disorder sometimes be so crazy, just you have no fucking idea, And so when I see people, I put that on my post. I said, I understand Kanye. I understand him because I know what his rants are just like my rants. I go on the same type of rants. And so I understand why he's doing what he's doing. He truly believes what he's saying, but what you're saying is incorrect, inaccurate, historically incorrect, and you should be condemned for that. And so all I'm saying is that we do have the power, because when the AKAs, I never forget this, there was a network, I think it was VH1, and they were coming out with this horrible show that they paid for everything. It was produced. Those AKAs put a Greek non-black letter, right? Think about this for a second. All of the fact that I'm a Sigma, right? Phi Beta Sigma. These are Greek letters. These weren't black people. The history behind this shit, but we made it our own. But they put the organization before black people. How many shows are out defaming and disrespecting black women? But the moment that those black women put on those AKA letters, it then became a significant problem. So the black issues, and they shut that show down. Those AKAs got together and that shit didn't see the light of day.
Thank you.
Because of the power that they willed, but you value the letters over your fucking skin. And so when you see other shows, let me finish my point. Because when the AKAs did that, and we saw the power that those black women possess, why didn't all of the black Greek letter organizations get together the same way that they pressured Nick Cannon and they fucked his ass up? Those black women could have done the same thing for any show that derogatorily and say, look, we're coming together and we're creating a watchdog group for the exact reasons that we wanted the AKA show to be shut down. We're going to create a group that does this for all black women, because black women are not going to be portrayed in this ratchet fucking light. That is not who we are. And we're going to make this shit hard for you. They have the power to do that. And so what I'm saying is that you now ask for these celebrities who are rich and powerful to have a heart and to come back to our communities and say, hey, look, we're going to do this and we're going to come together. But it takes us to start setting an example, creating an environment so that they are now either shamed or forced to, because the AKA showed their fucking power. I was so proud of them when they did that. But then in my mind, I'm like, well, if they didn't have the AKA letters on and it was just black women acting ratchet, would you have stopped it? Huh?
Because they wouldn't have cared. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the Jewish community. It's like that. This is a part of who I am, and it is a representation of my heritage and dignity and respect and honor, and you will not touch it. That's what the AKA said. You will not.
But why can't you say that about your skin color?
Because everybody, we'll go all the way back to the beginning of the show. Look at that crazy woman that took the paint and painted over Black Lives Matter. It's a 400-year, cycle of pain and misery. And, no other race has been for 400 years told that they're not shit, their skin is ugly, their hair is horrible, they are nothing but. Nobody in America no other race has that experience.
No,
and that just
correct.
doesn't go away. But when you have things that make you feel the greatness of who you are, and being in a Greek letter organization, I just talked about that last night on Hot Talk. I had the AKAs on, women of finer womanhood. That means something. Those women, those are bonds that you create as you are becoming a woman or man, that help you through your life and will be there to carry your casket. That's why that matters. That's why it is sacred, and you hold it sacred, and you don't let anybody admonish it ever.
So my thing is, Jill, is that I'm a member of a Greek letter organization. I got beat. I got all that shit. And and so as a Sigma, I was also Black Student Union president. And when I was Black Student Union president, there was no fucking way.
I know, I gotta go too.
That I was gonna put my letters above my race. And so if there were issues or things that I had to do, BSU came first, because BSU, right, is for all Black people. Phi Beta Sigma is for a select group of Black people. And so all I'm saying is that when
that's like saying your family, your intimate
immediate family and your extended
family and your extended family.
Right. And so what I'm saying to you is that you're not going to go trying to figure out what, if right now your daughter is being, problematic, and then your niece is being problematic. You're going to deal with your daughter before you deal with your niece. And that's what I'm saying. We have to get to the point where the same anger that the AKAs felt about the Greek letter organization being misrepresented, form an organization like the Anti-Defamation League that does the work on behalf of your people and not just a select group.
Well, that's when you need to get Ruben Rob on him, because we have several. Well, NAACP, Urban League.
No, that's not what they do. That's not what they do. I want a group that literally.
What is their purpose then? I can't ask that question because I gotta go. I got 1 o'clock.
All right, we gotta go. We'll see.
We will pick up that conversation later. Love you guys.